Hello and welcome to Galahad Reviews. I'm Thomas and today I'm going to be reviewing the Edifier G4 TE gaming headset. It's a 7.1 surround sound headset that works on PC, PS4, and Mac. It does not work on Xbox. Edifier was nice enough to send this unit out for review, which I do appreciate, and will not bias my opinion in any way, shape, or form. I'm excited to see how it sounds and how comfortable it is, as they were adamant on how good it was. I'm selective when it comes to my audio products, so let's find out if it's worth the $75 price tag, or with the code GALAHAD-G4TE, you can get 20% off, which brings it down to $60. Moving on to the build quality, aesthetics, comfort/use. Most of the headset is made from plastic, with the exclusion of the top headband being made of metal. This makes it lightweight but durable. I haven't noticed any creaking and the whole unit feels solid. It's an over-the-ear headset that is rather large. The ear cups are made of a soft plushy protein pleather. They are very comfortable but become hot/warm during prolonged use. More expensive headsets use a combination of pleather on the outside, but the part that touches your head is velour to provide the isolation that you get from pleather, but the comfort and breathability you get from velour. Inside the ear cups, you see R or L to notify you of the correct orientation of the headset. That material is very thin and soft, which is surprising to me as this is usually a bit more scratchy. So hats off for that. The overall clamping force is light, which brings us to the next point of the self-adjusting dual suspension arms, which sounds pretty fancy, like sticking your thumb out when taking a sip of something. And that's because, well, they are. Normal headbands usually have defined steps to adjust to your head. The problem with those is that your head might fall in between two clicks, or if it has a design like the Asteroid 50s that slide up and down, this can move in time, which makes you constantly have to readjust them ever so often. If you have mild OCD like me, you have to ensure everything is equal, so you are left sitting there with a ruler or counting clicks. With this guy, all the guesswork is taken out of it. You simply put them on your head and they auto-adjust to the perfect level. These suspension arms are made from a soft, flexible rubber material that attaches to the headband that slides up and down. This headband is rather large and filled with air to ensure you have equal pressure throughout the top of your head to prevent it from becoming sore after long sessions. It reminds me a lot of the Audio-Technica ATH-80 line, but does it better. And those guys are a lot more expensive. You add this to the lightweight design, soft protein pleather, and light clamping force, and you have yourself an extremely comfortable headset. They knocked it out of the park with this. The only downside is that it does not death grip your head, so if you are going to headbang or try to headbutt your monitor in a fit of rage, your headset might go flying off. Personally, I would have preferred it to be a little tighter, but that's because I like things snug. It comes with an 8.2 feet braided cable that is quite flexible. This should be enough length to suit those who play on console and TV in their living room, or the individual who plays on their PC at a desk. Near the top of the cable is the inline control. It is pretty nifty as it allows you to turn off the RGB lighting, mute the microphone, and adjust the volume. The RGB lighting has two modes, on/off. The mic mute will show a red LED if muted, which does not create a pop when you do turn it on, and this LED will be off when it is hot. Last, the volume wheel has moderate resistance, is smooth throughout, and locks when you are at max or minimum volume. This cable is attached to the headset and cannot be removed, which means if you get up and the cord is caught, the headset is now a ballistic missile shooting for the ground. This cable ends with a USB 2.0 that is driver-free, so it's plug and play all day long. This allows it to work on Mac, PC, PS4, and tablets, as they all support USB headsets. However, the Xbox is picky with its friend group and does not like how most USBs look, so straight rejects them. And since the headset also has a phobia of 3.5mm cords, you won't be able to plug it into your Xbox controller, which means Xbox players are left missing out. The headset is made from a combination of glossy and matte black with subtle red accents, which is totally my jam because I like both black and red, and they complement each other well. The ear cups look good, but also like a hubcap in the sense that they look super fancy, but do not serve a purpose outside of aesthetics. The underglow RGB lighting supports 1.68 million colors, but is dull and lackluster. Thankfully, when the lights are off, these areas don't stick out and blend right in. This is how I use them most of the time. You can adjust the colors along with a plethora of other things, such as where the virtual speakers are located, equalizer settings, environment effects, surround max, microphone echo, magic voice, and microphone boost. I'm not going to go more in depth on the software, as I don't think you need that for this headset to sound great, and that software doesn't work on consoles as far as I know, so all my testing was done at stock settings with me just plugging it in and selecting the correct input device on my computer. Moving on to the performance section of the review, the 6mm electric condenser microphone is detachable and very flexible. It has two plastic edges that allow you to orient it into its crevice, and then you twist to lock it into place, just how you twisted the knife in your friend's back years ago to get the girl. It comes with a windshield that houses a very small hole, which makes it difficult to get on the tip of the microphone. And I don't think I've ever said a more dirty but innocent line in my YouTube career thus far. Once on, you may get lost just like your first time and get confused in which side to talk into. This is important because this guy supports Unilad. This is This is important because this guy supports unidirectional reception, which means that it will capture audio from one direction but not the other. So if you're speaking to the wrong end, then you'll sound muffled and quiet. The good part about this is it cuts down on background noise. Add that to their noise canceling tech and you've got yourself a high functioning microphone. I found the microphone to sound excellent for a headset mic, period. However, it is extremely sensitive, which means it peaks easily, which makes you come across as sounding crackly and horrible. So I had to turn down the mic gain in Windows to about 75%, which made me a bit too quiet in games such as Apex Legends, but allowed me to put the microphone close to my face in the ideal position. So you may have to tinker around a bit, as our voices and how loud we talk vary from person to person. But once you do dial it in, the microphone sounds great. If you don't do this correctly, it sounds like doo-doo. I'm a bit worried about this, as most people struggle to set up their headset mics correctly anyways, so I think you'll get a lot of people either saying this is great or it's trash, and not a whole lot of in between. For the love of your friends and your teammates' ears, I recommend watching some other videos on how to set this up correctly, which is as simple as putting the microphone in the correct position, speaking in a consistent volume, and making sure the gain is at the correct level. This entire paragraph was recorded with the microphone at stock settings, so you can judge for yourself on how it sounds. For the price of this guy, I think it's great. I did not test the surround sound function for this headset, as one, I'm not a fan of surround sound headsets for many reasons, the chief among them being that you need everything in the chain for them to work correctly. When it does work correctly, I think they're great, but it's a pain to set up if you play multiple games, and I'm just not about that life currently. The second being that most games these days do not support surround sound or have their own HRTF built in, which means it isn't needed. Third, the directional sound on this guy is already phenomenal, and surround sound isn't needed. So we're moving on. For all my headsets, I go through something called the Galahad sound test. This allows me to compare it to other headsets while also seeing how it performs in single-player games, multiplayer games, general use, and music. In each of these sections, I attribute scores to how well it does based on several different metrics. This allows me to come up with a sound profile, which then can give you a good idea on how it will perform and sound in multiple different usage cases. If you are interested in seeing everything that goes into this test, you can check out my Galahad sound test video on my channel, and if I'm awesome, I'll remember to actually link it down in the description below. This guy uses 50mm neodymium drivers and is closed back, which means it does not let in much outside noise and usually has a smaller soundstage than open back headsets. Also, when you're talking into the microphone, you'll also not hear your voice as well, so some people are either talking too loud or they're not talking loud enough. So once again, that goes back into training yourself to make sure that you're talking at a consistent, normal volume when using it. I'm personally a big fan of closed back headsets, as I think that they provide a lot better directional sound quality and allow for more immersion because you aren't distracted by events going on around you. But sometimes that also makes things sound a bit less realistic, as with that limited soundstage, things feel more inside your head than outside it. However, for me, I spend most of my time in my head anyways, and this is my preferred method of being. So that's probably why I like closed back better. If you're looking for my thoughts on Escape from Tarkov, Apex Legends, Grand Theft Auto 5, general use, and music, you can check the description below where I go more in depth, as this next part is going to be a general summary of the sound instead of going into the individual parts, because that would simply take too long. The grading scale I use is on the screen right now, probably above me, but who knows? For FPS gaming, it scored an 8.15, which is fantastic / phenomenal. For single player gaming, it scored a 7.6, which is great / fantastic. For general use, it scored an 8, which is fantastic. For music, it scored a 7.5, which is great / fantastic, with an overall rating of 7.81, which is great / fantastic. Most headsets that I've tried in this range usually score about a 5 or a 6, so it almost scoring an 8 is kind of mind-blowing to me. So to summarize all of my findings, these have fantastic sound, especially for the price. Most headsets, and especially cheaper headsets in this range, struggle to do one thing semi-competently, where this guy kills every single metric. It even went as far as to trade some blows with my Sennheiser HD650 and Sennheiser IE500 Pro, which cost $500 to $600. I would say that these have the sound quality of most $200 to $300 headsets, and you'd be very hard-pressed to find one that sounds better at this price range of $60 to $75. I found them to have better sound than the Astro A20 Gen 2, HyperX Cloud Flight, SteelSeries Arctis 3, 5, 7, 9, and Pro, and had almost equal sound with my Astro A50s. The directional quality of sound were as good as the Corsair Virtuoso SE, but with better overall sound. I was easily able to locate where people were located in the game space, along with how close/far. This gave me a great competitive edge when a lot of things were happening. At the same time, I was able to hear the individual parts that were happening and where they were located, instead of just them turning into noise. These two aspects are what most headsets struggle to do. Even the expensive ones, sounds in general were accurate and sounded good. Guns sounded powerful, and I could tell the difference between them. The balance between bass, mids, and highs was great. However, if you are a bass head, you'll probably be left disappointed, as the bass is accurate instead of shake your soul. I did notice that sound at times came across as slightly processed, and male vocals sounded a bit muddy. Also, I noticed some fatigue after long sessions. The difference you'll see in more expensive headsets is that they don't leave you with a fatigued feeling. You get richer tones that have more depth, and bass presence can be more textured and deeper without overpowering other sounds, but that comes at a lot more expensive price tag. A better way to explain the sound for these guys is imagine a very expensive camera taking a photograph of a beautiful mountain area in the fall with a lake. The original image is going to be great, but to really make it spectacular, you need to put it into an editing program to really make those colors pop. This guy is missing the editing program to make those colors pop, but you are still left with a picture that looks excellent, and you're saving a crazy amount of money doing it. In Apex Legends and Escape from Tarkov, I was easily able to hear footsteps, where people were located, and how close/far, which allowed me to WP my way through people. During general use, I was able to hear things just fine and had no issues with it. Music came across as more surgical and analytical over emotional/passionate, meaning I could hear the individual and unique parts of songs easily, and I could hear the instruments and notes they were hitting, and if they were on them or not. But it lacked color to really get me into the mood, which isn't to say that the mood wasn't there. It was just in a different presentation than I think most music listeners are going for. Overall, I was truly blown away by the quality of the sound. Moving on to how it sounds in audiophile terms, I find the sound to be airy and transparent despite it being a closed-back headset. The sound is natural, clear, crisp, detailed, and analytical, but due to this, it comes across as a bit sterile and lacks depth. Occasionally, it came across ever so slightly as processed. They have great balance where the bass doesn't overtake the mids or the highs, but the bass can also sound a bit anemic at times and won't leave you feeling it in your chest. Imaging was extremely accurate. I noticed minimal microphonics from the braided cable. I noticed a bit of fatigue after long periods of use. Soundstage is medium in size. The only time I noticed any bloat/muddiness was with some male vocals, but was otherwise absent. I did not notice any harshness, sibilance, congestion, or similar. Moving on to the conclusion, when Edifier first reached out about this headset, I was apathetic, as I have tried a crazy number of headsets in this price range from other brands who are touting how great it is, and I'm rarely pleased with the sound and the overall product in general. They usually do an adequate job that lines up well with the price they are asking for, but none of them have ever been something that I would recommend to somebody, as they were average across the board. That ends with this guy, which I kind of hate, as when I get a product for free, I hate to say it's a fantastic product, as it makes me seem incredibly biased and disingenuous, like I'm just trying to sell a product to make a buck. But this headset truly blew me away in the testing, and then thinking about how much it costs, I really am truly left shocked. I'd give the sound quality a 10 out of 10, the comfort a 9 out of 10, the microphone an 8 out of 10, the overall aesthetics a 7 out of 10, and those ratings are adjusted to the actual price range for this guy, where it would score lower if I was comparing these directly to, say, like my HD 650s or my IE 500 Pros that are audiophile headphones. Compared to this guy, yes, those still win in a lot of different areas and score higher. However, for the price of these guys, just absolutely insane the value there. I really like the self-adjusting arms and that you can remove the microphone. Also, with them being closed back, you can forget the outside world. Overall, if you're on a budget and are looking for a good headset, you found your guy, as long as you don't game on an Xbox, as I think you'll be just as blown away as I was. Hence, they're 4.4 out of 5 stars on Amazon, with 75% of their users giving it a 5 star. If you happen to pick this guy up, make sure to use the link provided in the description along with the code GALHADG4TE to get that 20% off code. If you liked this video, leave a like. If you didn't like this video, leave a dislike. If you think I've sold out, let me know in the comment section below. And of course, hit that subscribe button if you are interested in seeing more like this or have been following my content for a while. God bless and peace out.